YouTube, it's Emma Blue Eyes 10 here, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Etiquette episode 10, and I do hope you guys enjoy. Now, it's been a little while since I've done an etiquette video, mainly because, as I said before, I've just been very busy with work. I haven't had much time to do videos, and two, I've actually kind of been a little bit stuck on some topics I could do for the etiquette series. So if you guys have got any comments at all, or any ideas that could help, post down in the comments below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Okay. Episode 10 today is called Calm and Collected, and this is actually inspired by an article I read up on TCG Player about the psychological side of dueling and how emotions in duels can cause you to win and lose and all that. It's a very interesting article. I actually agree with some of the stuff that's in there, and I'll post a link down to it below for you guys to read and decide for yourselves whether or not you agree as well. So anyway, keeping calm and carrying on is a very British attitude to have, as you know, and it can be applied to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Keeping yourself as calm and collected as you possibly can help win games, and controlling your emotions can also decide whether or not you win or lose games as well. For example, there's always, there's the typical happiness of winning duels and getting out your favourite combo or favourite monster. There's always that kind of thing. There's frustration at having combos stopped or having your moves countered, and then there's the sadness of being utterly defeated and losing the will to fight on. These three emotions are quite common in all games. Everybody experiences them in every single duel that they play, but it's different for each person on how they control them. Now obviously, being happy at winning a duel or getting a winning combo out is quite common. Everybody feels it, obviously, but there's also being overexcited. Now, this is just from personal experience where I've been overexcited and summoned out, say, a good combo or summoned out the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, and the opponent then nukes the combo or stops the summon of your favourite monster or plays something like Solemn Warning on your Shining Dragon, which was not a pleasant experience to say the least. And playing cards too quickly without taking into account what else is on the field is quite common. It does happen. It happens to everybody. Because obviously you're really happy to have that card, you can get this card out and everything, but you have to remember there's still stuff on the field you need to keep an eye out on, because some players do think, when they play this card immediately they win the game, and forget about the rest of the stuff that's on the field, thinking they've got a game ender, and it happens that it's not when it gets countered. Interestingly enough, it also mentions in the article how some people can top deck a really good card and then they either play it immediately or set it immediately without taking into account what else is on the field, and as a result you're letting your opponent know that you've drawn a very good card, and then they can move to either counter it or get around it. And that's happened to me as well. As I said, summoning out Blue Eyes Shining Dragon and she gets nuked by a Solemn Warning is from me being too overexcited and getting her out. And there's also been times where I've either drawn Dark Hole or Mirror Force, I've played it immediately or set it immediately without thinking about the back row or thinking about what's on the field, and the opponent counters it perfectly that way, and then that's obviously a good game breaking card wasted and an opportunity to get the field even again and possibly a winning scenario up again down the drain. Entering frustration in a duel is evident in every single duel, because obviously your moves are constantly being countered by the opponent and everything as well, and everybody feels it, everybody goes through it, and it can be difficult to get rid of. I mean, obviously body language and your facial expressions can show the opponent whether or not they've got you in a corner if you're getting frustrated that you can't get out of a certain situation you're in, or you don't have the right cards to counter something. It does happen to everybody, but getting frustrated that way, quite common, it does happen, and there's often nothing you can really do about it unless you actually are able to draw the right cards or get the right combos to go off. But getting frustrated at the opponent when they're either playing slowly or are unsure of a card or whatever is obviously a big no-no, because you're no better than a bully if you get frustrated and angry at them because they're either a new player or, as I said, they're unsure of their deck or whatever. Frustration in turn obviously can lead to anger, especially if the opponent does something really bad, or you get angry at yourself for making a silly misplay and the opponent takes advantage of it. It can happen. At the end of the day though, nobody likes to be lashed out at if you lose your temper, and you'll be the one who gets into trouble for it. So it can be difficult to keep it under control. I can understand that, but just don't try and lose your temper over something that the opponent, say, innocently did or whatever. For example, like they made an accidental misplay, or they're, as I said, they're unsure of their cards, or they don't know how, or they're just a new player, whatever. Obviously, if the opponent's cheating or deliberately doing something to make you angry, you call the judge over immediately and you let them know what's going on. Otherwise, you know, you could end up doing something you regret, and you could get kicked out of your tournament or the event, or even banned from playing and all that. So yeah, that's a big no-no to say the least. Of course, but everybody's different. Some people will just alert the judge no. Some people will just go straight up and punch the opponent's light out if they're deliberately goading them into anger or cheating or whatever. Obviously, everybody's different in dealing with that. But said everybody can encounter frustration, but the best thing to do is to try and keep calm, and remember you've got plenty of options on the field. I mean, if one combo goes and you've got others options to salvage to deal with that way, look into them, look at the field, look at your graveyard, look at your hand, look everywhere basically to see if there's a chance to salvage yourself out of that situation. And hopefully if you find a way, then the frustration can go and you can get back in the game and everything. And then of course the sadness of losing a duel, well, not losing a duel, but I mean everybody can get frustrated and sad if they lose a duel, especially if they made a mistake or misplayed or something. I mean, it happens again. It can happen to anybody at any time. But the other thing that happens with sadness in a duel is when you can get utterly crushed and lose the will to fight on in the duel. And it's happened to me quite a few times. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but the worst way to crush me in a duel, really, as I said earlier, was I played out Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. Somebody used Solemn Warning on it, and I was utterly crushed, because Solemn Warning to me is basically, I mean, it's a very good meta card for a lot of players, but I think of it as a really cheap card, if you forgive me. And when that happened, I was utterly crushed at what happened. I was frustrated and angry at myself that I had played my card too quickly without taking into account there was other things on the field, and I was utterly crushed that my favourite monster had gone, you know, like all that hard work to get her out, just down the drain. And I was just in a spiral where I'm just going to lose this duel now, just sitting, playing my cards, trying to counter, and it gets countered back perfectly, and I ended up losing the duel because of that. I mean, it can happen to anyone. The best thing to do is try not to get into that spiral. It can be difficult, but as I said, if you can look around and see any combos that could salvage the situation and get you out of that and back into the winning streak, then obviously take advantage of that as much as you can. But letting your emotions run rampant in a duel is obviously never a good thing, because as I said, nobody likes to be lashed out at, nobody likes to be intimidated by someone who might say like, oh, I'm definitely going to win this duel. You know, there's being confident and keeping yourself calm in going with the duel, and there's overconfidence and intimidation and all that, which obviously isn't good, because that's just not right if you ask me. So yeah, keeping calm and carrying on, or keeping yourself calm and collected in duels is very important, because as I said, it can win you games, it can let the opponent know what you've got in your hand and everything. You can also use these emotions and advantages to read the opponent and see what they've got, and obviously access through situations that way as well. But keeping your own emotions under control is key, because if you start to lose the plot basically, then you could end up just being bloated and losing the duel entirely, which nobody wants. And of course, if you really let them go out of control, like for example if you lash out in anger or something, then obviously you're going to be the one who gets into trouble, and you're going to be the one who regrets it at the end of the day. So anyway guys, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Etiquette episode 10. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've got any more ideas for the Etiquette series, just post down in the comments below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So till then, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye!